Well, of course, we've seen the Reform UK Party campaigning against net zero, some of the quite extreme green agenda. But it seems Reform coming out in favour of net zero when it comes to net zero immigration. Now, of course, when it comes to levels of migration, quite clear that voters in this country think levels of migration have been too high. You had David Cameron, of course, pledge to bring it down to the tens of thousands. You subsequently had multiple Conservative PMs pledge to do so, of course couldn't do so with EU open borders inside the EU. Since then, of course, the Conservative government have chosen to continue with very high levels of net migration, legal net migration. And of course, we recently saw record net migration in a year of 504,000 in 1 year to June 2022. As I said, it's clear from the research out there, voters overwhelmingly think the levels should be brought down. And Richard Tice's Reform UK, who of course pledging to stand in every seat at the next general election in England, Scotland and Wales, coming out with this pledge now, adopting a policy of net zero immigration. So I'm going to play a clip of the Reform leader Richard Tice speaking at Reform's recent rally. Watch this and let me know if you agree with Reform's position on this.
There is one net zero that I think the majority of this country would like. And that's to have net zero immigration. Because the reality is our population is at record high levels. It's almost 70 million. It's about 10 million more than some 15 years ago. Firstly, that didn't actually have the consent of the people. But secondly, the incompetent politicians and leaders, they didn't plan for the growth with infrastructure and investment in doctors, in hospitals, in affordable housing, everything that goes with it, which is one of the reasons why our public services are in such a terrible state. And actually the benefit of net zero immigration, what's interesting is about 400,000 people emigrate every year. So with net zero immigration, you welcome about 400,000 people in every year. The population stays the same. We can catch up. But the real benefit is that businesses will have to train and skill up our own people. Wages for the least well off will go up. And that will make work pay again, which brings me back earlier in the speech. If you make work pay, you'll get 2 million people of the 5 million out of work benefits rapidly back into work. Every million people on benefits is 15 billion quid, give or take. This is really important. It's our future. It's our young people. It is so important. So net zero immigration is the right policy for this country, without question. So we welcome the skills that we need whilst we're training up our own. But then in terms of illegal immigration, we should have zero. Only Reform UK has a clear, workable plan that will stop the boats.